Well, hello heroes and villains. My name is Ash and welcome back to my channel. I know, there was just a side quest, but don't worry, this is going to be a very easy, simple one. So events are optional. They're going to be popping up throughout the year, probably next year, once in a while, just for certain things like Valentine's Day, just things like that. There's nothing really you get from it other than gold or even sometimes like little items that you can get that you can't get from anything else. If you're interested in that, then you can do the event, but if you're not really interested in the event and you don't really need gold or you just have too much on your plate, then you don't have to worry about this. I will say that you are allowed to double up on prompts, so regardless of what time you are doing this, you can do this chapter 1, you can be on side quest 2, you could be at chapter 2, it could be any time you want. Events are at any time, there is no time frame, you could do this after Halloween is over, anytime you want, don't worry about it. All that you will be receiving for this event are 2 gold pieces, so like I said, if you don't really think that you need gold pieces, if you're already overwhelmed with books or readathons, then you don't have to do this, but you can double up on prompts. So if you could fulfill the prompts, you might as well do it to get more gold. Along with this, critters are going to be announced randomly throughout the month of October. There's going to be 2 total, so it's not going to be a whole lot of them, but there's going to be 2 critters that you can adopt for 1 gold each. I might actually raise this to 2 gold if I'm mean, but I feel like gold is a lot easier to get than I thought. So I might be raising it to 2. This is going to be released randomly. It's completely optional as well. All you have to do is adopt them and then do a non-bookish prompt, and you could just adopt little tiny dragons. They're just for aesthetic purposes because they're cute. So that's going to be happening throughout the month of October. If you do want to do this event, there's going to be 3 minimum prompts and 4 maximum prompts. Actually, technically you could do as many as you want if you want to get more costumes, but that's up to you. So you're going to have 2 mandatory prompts, very similar to the last side quest we just did, where we have 2 mandatory prompts everyone has to complete, where you have to carve a pumpkin with your dragon, and then you have to do 1 costume prompt. At least 1. You could do as many as you want. You could either dress your dragon up in the costume or your character up, or if you want to have 1 of each, then you could do that too. A minimum of 3 prompts, and you could double up on your prompts. These are pretty Halloween based prompts, not all of them, but a lot of them are. So if you read a lot of books that are set for autumn or have a lot of, horror based books, you might be able to fulfill these pretty easily. You could double up the prompts from current chapters and side quests. If you're doing the current side quest, the one I just released, you can double up on the prompts for this event. Like I said, you could be on chapter 1 and do this, and you could be on the latest chapter side quest. You could do this anytime you want. If you are slacking, if you are behind, if you don't think you can complete it this year, you don't have to do it. If you don't need 2 gold, you don't need to do it. That being said, let me just go to the prompts. The first 2 prompts are going to be the mandatory prompts, so let me get over those really quickly. Those being a pumpkin and a carving kit. So you need to get your pumpkin, and then you need to carve the pumpkin. For the pumpkin prompt, you have to read a book with either a pumpkin, jack-o'-lanterns also work, or orange on the cover. So if there's orange anywhere, it's kind of a hard color to find on most books. So as long as there is some orange, it will count, even if it's a small amount. An example of this is Sabola Burn. I'm going to be reading this in October, and I'm going to be using it for this prompt because the title is orange, and that is enough for me to have. Next is a carving kit. This one's a little bit tricky, although I have a loophole, so don't worry about it too much. You have to have a book that has at least 2 triangles on the cover. So like I said, this is pretty difficult. Now for me, I'm lucky because I'm going to be reading A Conjuring of Light in October, and as you can see, there are 2 triangles on the cover, which is perfect. I know they're not like perfect triangles. They're isosceles, right? It's been a long time. I haven't been in school for a while, bear with me. There are 2 triangles on this, so this definitely does count for that, but there is a loophole. So if you can't find any of the books that you're currently reading or going to read for October, or you're just having a really hard time with this prompt, there is a very easy way to get around this. If you have at least 2 A's on your cover, so say A Song of Achilles, this is by Madeline Miller. Madeline Miller, she has an A in her name, and Achilles has an A in the name. If you look close enough, you will see that A has a triangle in the center of it. So if you have a book that has at least 2 letter A's, capital A's, on the cover, it will work. Although it has to obviously be triangles. Sometimes there's A's that are, circular. You can see how this is not a triangle, the A for Brandon Sanderson, so that doesn't count. But as long as something has a triangle in the center of it, like this counts. So as long as there's 2 on the cover. You can have more than that, but minimum of 2. It's actually really hard to find a book with actual triangles on it. If you really are struggling, that is a completely valid way to do it. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the costumes. Once you do those 2 mandatory prompts, you can do it in any order, you don't have to do them first, but as long as you get those 2 done, all you'd have to do is do 1 of the costume prompts. If you wanna do more than 1, some of them are kind of like sets that kind of go together, so technically you can get the set, which is usually around 2 prompts, but like I said, you could double up, so if you wanna make it easier for yourself, just do that. If you wanna get a costume for you and your dragon, you have to do at least 2 to maximum of 4 prompts, but like I said, it's all up to you. The first costume article of clothing is devil horns. Like I said, this could be for you or your dragon. If your dragon already has horns, they might not need this, but if you want to get devil horns anyway, you have to read a book featuring demons, devils, hell, or anything like that, or a book with horns on the cover. So any type of animal with horns on the cover, like a ram, etc. If you want to get glow-in-the-dark paint, that is safe for dragons to use as well if they want to. You have to read a book that reminds you of a painting. This could be a classic painting or a modern painting. For example, the classic painting Starry Night has blue and yellow, so if you have a book that has blue and yellow, like The Song of Achilles, it has a little bit of white in it too, that would count. If you have a book with a person on the cover, Mona Lisa would work for that. So as long as you have a book that reminds you of a painting or a painting that reminds you of a book, that works. So if you have a book that you really want to get to, you can look up things online for like a painting with this color scheme or something. As long as you can kind of like link books together in some type of way, even in your own artistic sense, that does count for that one. To get some fake blood for either yourself or your dragon, you have to read a book that is a thriller or a horror. This is very easy for October, so hopefully this isn't too bad. If you want to have a vampire, character or a dragon, you can do this. I find this to be incredibly adorable if you have a blood dragon, because technically they already are kind of vampires, so this is kind of cute to have a blood dragon that's a vampire. If you want to have a costume for fangs, kind of bring the vampire outfit together, you have to read a book featuring vampires in any way, shape, or form. It could be a romance, it could be a horror, it could be Dracula, which is a really popular classic, especially during this time of the year. The next one is either going to be wings or an overlap for wings. If your dragon doesn't have wings, this will just be like fake wings for them. If they already have them, this will be webbing that can kind of go overlay over the wings, so kind of give it like a cool design. Give it a different type of look beneath or on top of their wings. I kind of like the concept of that. For this, you have to read a book with multiple cover designs. So as long as it has different covers, most books do, but as long as it has at least 2 covers of different kinds, like bookish box books, exclusive editions, or just cover changes, this counts for that. If you want your character to have more of a witch or wizard vibe, or your dragon, if you really want to give them a hat, then you can give them a witch or wizard hat. For this, you have to read a book with ingredients on the cover that a witch would have in her, brewing in her cauldron. So this could be a toad, a frog, spider, snake, newt, eyeballs, anything that you would think that a witch would put into her cauldron to make, something really fun. So this can go at very many directions, especially if you're reading a horror book. I think eyes are the best part is a really good one for that because it has eyeball on it. So anything that you think would be inside of a witch's brew, you can put that as long as it's on the cover. You can be really creative with this. It doesn't have to be, only one of those options, but just be creative. I like this one a lot because I feel like you could do anything you really want with it as long as you think it would work. The next one kind of goes with the hat for the wizard and witch, and that is a star cape, a cape that has, starlight on it. Maybe it would be good for celestial dragons as well. Maybe not the dragons, but you know what? A dragon with a cape, it would be cute. This one is very simple. To have a star cape, you have to read a fantasy book, so this one's really easy. If you want to sprinkle some fairy dust on yourself or dragon, you can get some pixie/fairy dust. This is to read a book featuring fae or any type of fae-like creature, so anything that you find in a fae world. If you would like to get some mummy wrapping, so you can wrap yourself or your dragon up in cloth and make them look like a mummy, you have to read a book with a dust jacket. Simple and easy, but I feel like this one makes a lot of sense for the prompt. If you want to be a ghost, you can go with the traditional, very, very classic white sheet that you could just put eye holes in to become a ghost. This is to read a book with at least 50% of white on the cover. This one I would probably count. I would count this as 50%, and I also count this as 50%. So those are the 12 prompts you can choose between. Technically 10 because you have to do the 2 mandatory ones, but there are 10 you can choose from. I know there could be a lot more costumes to choose from. Some of your characters might not really care for some of the options, but like I said, do whatever you want to do. You don't have to do this, but if you want to do this, these are the options. If you complete at least 3 of the prompts, so the 2 mandatory and 1 costume or more costume depending on what you want to do, then you can get 2 gold. That's all you get for this event, so obviously like I said, you don't have to do this event, but if you want to get 2 extra gold, then go and do so. And if you already have books that already fulfill these prompts, might as well do it. Extra gold, and it's not like you have to read more books, thankfully. I know it's overwhelming because there's so many chapters and side quests and now there's an event, but December is going to be the next chapter. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be working on it very soon. We're going to be going down different paths. We can choose between 2 different paths and learn about our dragons and roll dice, and those will determine different outcomes. Obviously it can't be too unique because every single time I have a new outcome, I can't make future outcomes in the future, so they won't be anything diabolical. Your character's not going to like fall off a cliff because they roll a bad dice, but obviously you have to make sure that you roll well, and if you don't, it's okay too, but that's going to be happening in December. I'm really excited. The whole readathon is based off D&D and rolling dice, and I'm just so excited to actually roll dice because I'm looking forward to seeing if I do well or not. I usually do, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, keep your eyes out for the critters that are coming out. You'll see them within the next 2 or 3 weeks. You'll be seeing them coming out. They're kind of both based off of Halloween kind of things, so I wanted them to be released in October. As mentioned, it's optional, but look forward to that. If you are excited about it, then I hope you are, because I'm having fun making these little tiny dragons. They're so cute. I'm gonna end the video off here because that is all for this video. Thank you so much for participating. I'm gonna have the Google Drive below where you're gonna have this all written out on a Google document in case you need to read it a little bit easier, or if maybe the black and white will be easier for you to read. If you have any questions, leave one below or just go onto the Discord. And I hope you all have an amazing October and have some fun for the spooky season. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and hope to see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.